Good morning, all you cool cats and kittens. Today we're going to start chapter 21, which is linear modeling, and we're going to talk about correlation. So with correlation, we have something called a scatter diagram, which looks something like this. Your x-axis is going to be your independent variable, and your y-axis is going to be your dependent variable. Then you're just going to plot x versus y to make a diagram. Now the goal, hopefully, is that it is somewhat linear like this one is. Now correlation is the relationship between two variables. So that's what correlation is. When you have two variables, you want to talk about four things. The direction, either positive or negative. So is the slope positive or negative? That tells you your direction. Are there any outliers or unusual behavior? So right here, if this was the normal pattern and there's one way over here, that one would be an outlier. The form. So our functions have lots of different forms. There's exponentials, but mainly what we're going to be looking for is linear. And then the last thing we need to talk about is the strength. The strength is how close the points are to forming a line. So if they're all perfectly in a line, the strength would be perfect or very good. If they're kind of spread out, then the strength could be moderate, but they still form a line. It would be like moderate. If they were just completely spread out, random scattered, the strength would be weak or none. All right. So there is in your book on page 547 kind of a little diagram describing strength, strong, moderate, weak. And then positive versus negative is just the slope. Now, making a scatter diagram like this, when you're given a table of x's and y's, you can do it by hand, but I'm also going to show you how to do it using a calculator. So with a calculator, if you go to Stat, so click the Stat button, and then Edit, it'll pop you up into your list menu. I'm just going to do a quick one. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's my list 1. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be my X list. Then list 2 needs to be the same number of values. I'm just going to make up some random numbers here. 8, 15, 19, 22, 21. Now, if you want to do a scatter diagram on your calculator, you hit the second button, and then y equals gets you to the stat plot menu. Click enter on plot 1. You want to turn it on. And then the first one there, which it already has, is your scatter diagram. Your X list was your list 1. Your Y list was list 2. You can change the marks or the colors if you want to, but I'm just going to leave it on its normal settings. Then you would hit graph. So as you can see, there's only one dot on the screen right now, but that's because my numbers were high. The trick to doing these is the zoom button. So if you go to zoom and we use the stat button, there is a zoom stat function. It is number 9. If you click enter on that, there is our scatter diagram. So describing this one, it's a positive slope. There doesn't seem to be really any outliers. This one could be maybe. So we could just say there maybe is an outlier, but probably not. The strength of this would be probably moderately strong. Most of them fall in a pretty decent line. These are maybe up above. These, if we were to draw on a line though, it would look something like that. They're all fairly close to a line, so I would say it is moderate to strong strength. And then the form is linear for now. If we had more data, we could maybe say that it's quadratic, maybe like a parabola. But for now, if it's close to forming a line, we're just going to call it linear.